Hey, what's up everybody? In this lesson, we're going to create our very own coffee table book using Adobe InDesign. Let's go ahead and dive in. I'm going to go ahead and start with a new file, and I want to make sure this is a horizontal layout rather than a vertical layout. So I'm going to set my orientation to the landscape orientation. I'm also going to make sure that my settings are 11 by 8.5 to give me a kind of square but slightly longer page on the sides. As for pages, we're going to just start with one because we're going to go ahead and add the spreads and talk about our goals for the lesson as we go. I'm setting my margins to 0.125 and my bleed to 0.125 as well. We're going to go ahead and create that single page document, which will account for our cover page here in the document. Now that I have that, I want to create 5 spreads. I'm going to go ahead and add a few pages. There's my first spread, my second, my third, my fourth, my fifth, and then that final back page cover. This will go ahead and give us a great starting point. I'm going to zoom out here just so you can see a little bit on what we created, and we're ready to go. Now we're going to kind of cover a lot of different things in here, but we're starting with just by setting up our specific layout. I'm going to just build right on the cover page as well here in InDesign. I'm going to make sure that my workspace is set to essentials. We will reset that so everything will click into place there. That's looking really good. Now we can start drawing some of our frame options. Let's go and play a little bit with our parent pages and create some parent pages that are going to help us along the way. I'm going to double click on these parent pages and highlight them both and go over to the layout margins and columns guide. Here I'm going to make sure that I add a couple of different gutters and columns. So we're going to do 4 here when it comes to the columns, which looks really nice. Hit OK. And then I may go ahead and create guides. And these guides, we're going to add a few rows. We'll add 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. That looks really great. Now, whenever we go to our main page, we're going to have these really nice guides that are going to help us on our way with our layout. Another thing we can do in our parent pages is we can create almost like these are master slides in your favorite slide builder. I'm going to go ahead and create page numbers here at the bottom of the screen. I'm going to put my page numbers in the corner, and we're going to start by just putting, you can put really anything here, but I'm going to do a little number hashtag, go to my properties, and let's adjust just slightly. We'll make that big, and we will center that. That's looking really good. I also like to turn on my control bar at the top by going to Window Control. That's going to allow me easier access to other options when it comes to formatting text and throwing in text and whatnot. Now that I have these options, I can kind of go ahead and play with this, but I'm going to right click and go to Insert Special Character. We're going to go to Markers and set this to Current Page Number. That's just going to put the letter A on the screen. I can go ahead and make this, again, more fancy. I could do Page A, which will give me a nice little formatting there. And we can also play with our elements here. So we'll look at some maybe Adobe Garamond Pro Regular, and we will lower this down to about 12 or 13. Let's go maybe even lower. We'll keep these page numbers kind of small. All right, what I like to do is set up the page and put it into its necessary corner. That looks great. I can hold Alt and copy that over to the other side of my document. This is going to now give me page numbers on both sides. So what does that mean? Well, when I go into my main document, you're going to see now each page is uniquely marked. And I could build upon this as well. So for instance, if I'm doing any sort of page numbers, maybe I also want to add a little at the bottom with the title of our book. I can kind of center this element, and I could say a photo portfolio. That looks good. I'll hit Command A or Control A on my keyboard. I will center justify that to get where I want in place, and go back to my move tool, and we're going to just nudge this to kind of match that look. So we're just going to try to put this right in the center here, And we'll also have that here. That's looking really, really good. So this footer is going to now carry over to every single element on my page, no matter what. Had I put a design element, let's do that just so you can see. I can go ahead and go to properties, and maybe we'll add a fill to this. We'll do black, and then maybe we'll change our typeface here to white, just to add a little bit of dynamic elements here. Now we have on every single page, we will have that. We're going to just duplicate that rather than go over that again. Hold the Option key, run it into the middle of the page, use our smart guide there to center that up, and there you have it. When I go back to my main layout, that's going to carry over in all the pages that I have. But one thing you'll notice is that on this main page, I don't want my title page to have these elements. So this is a bit of a trick here. We're going to want to make sure we delete these off of just this page. To do that, I'm going to hold my Control and my Shift key and click. That will let me access those, Control, Shift, click, and hit delete. And that doesn't delete them all over the place, just on that main page, which is really nice. Now that I have that set up, I'm good to go. Let's start entering our text boxes, and now look how easy this is. We have our margins all set up. We can go ahead and use those margins to create the text boxes that kind of follow this grid setup as well. So we're going to go ahead and use our text frame tool and draw that out just as a placeholder for now. That looks really great. We'll scale it in, and then let's go ahead and place our very first image. Now, you're welcome to use your own photos, or you can use generative AI's text to image. It's really up to you, but the idea is to have a constant theme on our actual book. I'm going to use a photo that I have downloaded. I'm going to go to File, Place, and I'm going to look through. I have tons of photos here that I've found, and I found one that I really liked of this little travel vehicle. I think that's kind of fun. I'm going to go ahead and place that into my scene. As you can see, it's way too big, but the power of InDesign, you just go to Properties. Now that you're selecting on an image, you're going to hit Fit Frame Proportionally, and we're going to fit that into the scene. At any time, I can hit the W key just to see what this looks like. I'm digging it so far. Let's add some text boxes on top of this. I'll go ahead and add a text box and say photography. Then we'll add another line break and we'll say portfolio. And we're going to add text styles and stuff to this. And we'll do Matt Dombrowski. Awesome. All right. Now that we have these, let's hit Control A and let's go to a typeface of our choice, maybe something like Futura. That goes really well with the Garamond at the bottom. We will have to remove that page number once again because I had undid too many times, but we're going to load this up, making this very, 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 very large, using that grid line as a guide. So I'll roll down here. That's looking good. We're going to lessen the word photography. So we'll take a percentage of that and maybe cut it in half. And then take the word portfolio. Let's change the color of the word portfolio. Yellow may be a little too lost in that white, which it sure enough was. So let's pick a color in which we can determine. Maybe a dark blue would be very good. Yeah, that's looking really good. And then once again, we're going to take this down to maybe 18 as well, just to get a little visual order happening there on my screen. So I'm liking what this is doing so far. I could go ahead and move this around and play with it. I'm thinking maybe we're going to cut into our text box just a little bit here and lessen it. And we can move this down maybe to the bottom corner and set our alignment to right alignment. And then maybe select that word portfolio and let's add maybe a condensed extra bold just to build up that element. That's looking really, really good. So a few adjustments in things like leading, and don't worry if it goes too far at first. We're going to just scale that down to our liking. That's looking really, really solid. Let's see. Yeah. So hit W. You can see kind of what your look is. At this stage, you can determine if you need it bigger or smaller, but I'm kind of liking what we have there. And we'll again hit that Command and Control to highlight that page number and just get it off that main page. Now that we have our nice portfolio text, things are looking kind of good. We have the right margins, all that fun stuff. We can move on to the next page of our layout. So we're going to identify the first spread. For this first spread, I want to get my framing tool and I want to create a giant frame. I usually go above and beyond the picture here. I'm going to go all the way to the edge of my page and the center. Now that I have that, I can start putting in images in unique ways. I can go through my images and I can drag and drop them from a folder into my file. Once I do that and I hit OK, there we go, you're going to start to see the elements come into place. Now the only issue here is if I right click and you kind of look at the different options, you're going to notice that I am losing the element in the background. Now this is something that you want to be very careful with if you're making a photo book, because we are covering things like the page number. If I hit W, you can see that goes away pretty quickly. If I hit the Arrange button, you're going to notice it's just treating this like it's in the background. For our particular book, we may want to decide to crop our full bleeds right at the page number mark, maybe just a little bit higher, just to give it a little bit of breathing room there at the top. And we're going to go just a little further down here. There we go. Let's hit W and see how that looks. That's looking really good. Let's add a few more boxes of images here. For this one, we're going to go ahead and kind of keep within this margin here. So we're going to add an image here. You can always hold your Option key down and duplicate your frames. And we're going to kind of meet in the middle with these frames. I'm just dragging. No rules, but I'm using those guides as just kind of tools to push where I need to go. And I'm going to pull this one down off page. That's looking really good. Let's go ahead and add a few more pictures. So we'll add a picture here, auto fit. Perfect. And we'll kind of work our way down. We'll add a picture here and we'll auto fit these together. There we go. Drag that in. Perfect. Oh, added the same one. All right, just working our way down here a little bit, and we will definitely want to resize this one. So we'll go in here and hit auto frame. That's a little bit better on that picture. And let's hit W, let's test it out. Things are looking pretty snazzy. I do want to take these two boxes though. I'm thinking I want to make them kind of fill the, almost do like a full bleed there. Hit W again. That's looking really, really good. All right, on to the next kind of pagination or layout. I love that word, pagination. So on this one, we are going to do some fanciness. Let's take a frame tool once again, and let's draw a frame picture. Put our top image in there. Perfect, perfect. And I actually like the way that's fitting in there, but if I want to double click on it, I can hit V on my keyboard, double click, and I can just adjust this picture as I see fit, but that's looking pretty good. And I want to show you a little trick here. We can actually add text boxes by just selecting multiple images in our scene. So for instance, on the right-hand side here, if I want to do kind of a 3 grid of vertical images, I can go into my image library that I'm working with. I'm going to grab 3 unique images here that are all vertical, and I'm going to do a place. When I do place, you're going to see, I'm going to just look through for the vertical images. There's 2 right there I like, and then there's 1. And when I open, it's going to load this. But check this out. If I draw out my elements, it's going to just create a giant box, right? But if I use my arrow keys and hit left and right, it's going to create 3 boxes. It's going to actually create a photo grid. If I hit up and down, if you had more photos, you could create a whole contact sheet or grid. I'm just using my arrow keys. So again, with the place tool, when you're dragging out the elements, you can draw those out, and then you can hit up and down. It's really hard to see here, or left and right, to get those 3 photos to kind of come in as you see fit. So I need to hit one more down here, and we'll do 3, and then they come in really amazingly perfect. I mean, look at that. Look how quick those came in. Now, if we need to readjust with our grid, that's not a problem, but it actually looks like it hit our grid pretty good. This one could be nudged over slightly. And the great part about this is it kind of will allow you to still kind of work these out a little bit. So if they're not absolutely perfect, do not worry. Just go ahead and make your adjustments, and there you have it. So maybe we're going to put some photos there, and then maybe we're going to just have a plain square photo, hitting my V key, holding Alt. We'll just do every other one. I love that because it snaps right to it. And we'll just add a couple of photos in here. This is, I'm dragging and dropping. Again, you could use text to image here to use AI generated content to kind of fit in there. And we're going to just fill those specific screens using our fit frame on each of them. And making a photo book or a portfolio or you name it has never been easier. It's super forgiving. So maybe we want to add a couple of text boxes in here for a little later. We can go ahead and add a text box, right click, and we'll add some fill placeholder text for now. That's awesome. And then maybe I'll pick that Adobe Garamond. There we go. We'll use Pro and regular. Perfect. And now we have a fun option. I can also replace images. So if I kind of duplicate this, it's going to duplicate that image. All I really have to do is go through my image library or regenerate an image and drag and drop. It will replace that. I do like to put auto fit on as well. It will help save me time when it comes to the actual layout, but we're getting there. All right, moving on to the next one. I'm showing you how fast this can be. This is the idea of when you're building your portfolios, because there, again, so many layouts you can use once you activate this grid. This grid is your guide. This grid allows you the ability really to go through and adjust as you see fit. So we'll add this one here. That looks really, really good. And then we'll add another big one over here. Hit that auto fit. If auto fit's not working, just make sure you're on your selection tool. I have a habit of doing that as well. A couple more pictures on the side, but we're making progress here. You can always hit escape if you're not feeling your picture layout. So we'll do one here, and then we'll do a longer one down here. That's looking great. Perfect. And I may have used this one already, but I like the shot right there. Awesome. Very cool. All right, maybe this page has a giant text box about our journey, so we'll just draw that out. right click, insert placeholder text, and we'll make sure we are using, again, Adobe. We could do character styles here. So if we're getting kind of repetitive with our body text, the greatest way to do that is to go into paragraph styles, and we're going to create a new one, and we will save this as a new character style. So hit create new, and we'll call this body text. And even before we add text to this, that looks great. If we want to edit that, we can go in here and set our font size. That Adobe Garamond Pro looks really good. 12 was fine. Everything else seemingly was pretty good. I can turn on and off my hyphenation if I wish. I like to turn off my hyphens as well. But now, anytime I need to go back and address any text, that style is in place. So if I need to go back up here, for instance, and I need to make sure this is set to that paragraph style, I can just do that and it's going to automatically update that for me. Just like if I have text here, I can go ahead and draw my text. We'll do a couple of grids here. We'll do 4. We will paste our placeholder text, and we're going to go to our right-click text frame options. Let's make some columns here. Let's do 3 balanced columns. That's looking really awesome. We can even do our column rules. I like these little lines in between the columns. We'll set that text to body text, and that's going to adjust. If we hit W, check that out, all of our text perfectly. We'll do another full bleed image, but we are getting to the point where things are starting to look pretty good. Our book is really coming together. So add a big kind of inward stream picture here. That looks really rad. Working our way down. And maybe on this very last picture, we want to add a full spread. So we could go ahead and do that as well. And let's find the perfect picture. Maybe that boat picture again. That one was kind of cool. So we may decide to go back up to that boat picture and switch it out, which is fine. Maybe some palm trees. That looks good. And perfect. All right. On the very last page, we have the ability, maybe we will add another master page. So right now I only have master page parents here. I can go to right click new parent, and I'm gonna put parent B for the back page, and I'm gonna hit OK. And that's just gonna give me 2 pages here. And on parent B, I'm gonna add basically a black background. So I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna set my stroke to none and my fill to black. I don't need my page number on this, which is important. I could add text in here. I can completely build this out. It's really up to you, but I'm digging that. So here I'm going to just right click, and when I right click, I have the ability to apply parent to pages. I will just set that to B and hit OK. And you can see it only did it on the one side. That's because I put it on the wrong side here. So not a big problem, because I can just drag it over. There we go. Now it goes to that last slide. Awesome. So y'all, in a matter of seconds, we have our picture book ready to go. At any stage, you could use the text to image beta if you want to go ahead and make this generative AI oriented. Easily select that and use your text to beta or relink your images. We're going to go to File, Export, and we're going to save this as my book, which I already have on my desktop, so it will ask me to replace it. Here, I'm going to make spreads. If you're giving this to the printer, you want to turn on your printer's marks. I'm going to turn mine off, but spreads is the only thing I need to adjust by default. High quality print looks good. Hit save. That's going to usually take a minute or two to process all the imagery. So we'll give that a split second, and then I will open that up with a double click. And we have our amazing portfolio book, you all. So that should be a good starting point to get you to creating, whether you're making portfolios, if you're creating some sort of children's book, you name it. This is a great starting point with basic understanding of master pages along with different pagination and using grids. This is going to get you started down the right path of creating your book. So the next steps for you is to go through and either use generative AI or photos that you've taken yourself and make me a themed multi-page book. Think about 5 different spreads, a cover, and a background page, and export that as a PDF. Good luck in your creating. I can't wait to see what you come up with.